Hello, besties. Welcome to episode 6 of my Mind Speaks podcast, a space for honest conversations and stories that remind us we are not alone. And on today's episode, I am joined by a lovely woman who has shaped how I think about life and how life looks like for a woman who is evolved, smart, educated. I think for me, Mary is what I would want my life to look like in my own circumstance. I look at her and I see success, enlightenment, and words can't explain what Mary represents in my life. And I'd like her to introduce herself to the audience. For those who have never seen her, for those who don't know about her, I would want her to introduce herself with words best known to her. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Josephine, for this invitation.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Mary Kiguru. I'm an educator, but I also look at myself as systemic change designer. I work with youth mainly and focusing a lot on employability, having the youth enter into the job market, empowering them.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, my area of interest is on self-leadership, that you can only be successful if you're able to lead yourself, to have that self-control, to determine what you want and really focus on that. So I've worked with education for all children. This is my 17th year since its inception, but I've worked in other spaces in between. EFAC was formed in 2016 in Kenya.
Yeah.
So that's when I became a full-time staff there, designing the program and really designing the employability program for the youth. So I'm excited to be here today.
And I'm excited you're here.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for honoring the invite. And before we go to the serious stuff, I would want to know how growing up was like for Mary. What are the things that shaped your belief systems, shaped the beliefs and the systems that drive you to live life?
Right.
Yeah.
I can say I grew up in Nairobi, Eastlands particularly, and I'm a pastor's daughter.
Oh,
And being a pastor's daughter, that means people who shaped your life were the church, the expectation.
Yeah.
They have high expectations of a pastor's daughter. They don't expect you to live like everyone else.
Yeah.
And so your life was shaped by others. Your power was not in your hands. You wanted to please other people. And as long as you're pleasing other people, then you're not really leading your life.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that I was really focused. Also, I had a dream. And in my dream, there's what I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. And so I became more like a lone ranger in some ways, that I focused on the dream I had. And that time I wanted to be maybe a pilot or anything. But I didn't have mentors at that particular time. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I could only read. And so I saw people that I wanted to be like. And I decided to read about them and how they're doing. I also loved cars. So I wanted to be a car designer. Basically, I like mechanics, but I liked the designing of cars. So I would draw cars and all that. I didn't have a mentor, so I just followed the system. What the system required. You go to school, you pass. You go to high school, you go to university. You're applying for programs. Then you don't get admitted for the program you want, and you accept the program that you are in. But what I learned is to just excel and do my best in whatever space I was in. So I went to the university, did education, but selected areas that suited what I was most passionate about. Of course, now I did physics, but I also did education. And after I finished, I went into teaching. At that particular time, job wasn't an issue for science teachers, so we entered into the school system. And it's when I was teaching that I discovered what I really wanted to do. And what I wanted to do is maybe advise somebody how they can take power into their hands, mentoring. At that time, I didn't even know the term mentoring, but I started working with women and showing them that they can be able to excel in their own spaces as small business people. But I started with the school where I was. I remember one of the things that happened when I was posted to that school. Whatever we learned in university did not prepare me for that environment where girls were getting pregnant early. And a lot of them had HIV. And when I went there, they were asking, what experience do you have? And I didn't have experience because I didn't have a baby. I didn't experience their kind of life. And some of them were my age. And when they discovered they were sick and they needed help, that's when I started knowing, there's something called mentoring. And that's when I started mentoring. And the question I asked myself, if I was like 16 or 14 years of age, what would I have wanted to know? And then that's what now I do. And that's why we started out also the mentoring program, just getting to know, if I was young again, what would I have wanted to know? These people don't have to really like wander around trying to discover themselves. You can be able to share experiences and show them how to succeed early.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes.
And I think you do a good job, Mary. You do. And you represent everything you're talking about. You represent it deeply. And you're a mentor that I think everyone should have in their life. I think everyone in this life needs a Mary in their life. Because, and I do want to know, like, at what point in that whole journey did you think, okay, maybe leadership and education is where I am. Maybe the youth is where my passion is at. Yeah.
Right. So I left teaching high school and I went to work at the university. But my work at the university wasn't really in teaching, it was in admissions.
Yeah.
But in between I was teaching, I used to promote STEM amongst the girls. So we'd visit different schools and we were really promoting science.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do it in my school because the girls were just trying to survive and I was trying to show them that you can actually excel. One of the things we started in the school was the students were not the brightest in that particular school, but they had other talents. And the system confines you into thinking excellence is academic.
Yeah.
But in that school, then it wasn't really academic. So doing other things.
Yeah.
They had farms, they were entrepreneurial, and they could do other things. So also showing them that you can excel in other areas, even as you excel in school. It's important for you to go through school because it creates for you a space to network with others and to get to know the world, and it opens your mind. So when I went to work at the university, I was in the admissions office. I was in charge of admissions. And then I started asking myself, what does really quality mean for a university?
Yeah.
The unemployment was high. And at some point, they were saying the graduates are not like ready for the job market. They don't have the competencies. So I started exploring, how do you make quality work? So first, I didn't work with students. I worked with faculty, just training them on how to embed the employability pedagogy and to define quality, not from what the university does, but what the community expects out there. So that's how I got involved in the employability space, getting interested to know what does the space require and how do we equip the students to fit in that particular employability space. And that's what I've been engaged in throughout. Now I work with both students through EFAC and I work through the universities that we partner with in working with the faculty to just make them integrate some practical elements that empower the students to be employable.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's at the point where I left high school and joined the university. But the discovering the gap, where the gap was, it was in my work at the university.
All right.
Yeah.
And looking back at your younger self, do you see threads of leadership and teaching when you were way younger, before high school and uni?
Yeah, I remember I was 12 years old. And 12 years old, I met a group of young people. They were older than me. And I think that's when I spoke out. I used to be a very shy kid. But at that particular time, I spoke up and really challenged them about what they want about their future. Remember, I'm a preacher's girl. So I was preaching and challenging them. That's the first time that I knew that I can speak out. And through high school, I was like a prefect. So I had responsibilities as a prefect to lead others. I was a house captain when I was in Form 4. When I went to the university, I just joined the peer mentorship program. That is the only time that I did something that was leadership. And that's when I discovered I can't say truly I knew what it was all about, but I can say about self-leadership, that if I have to succeed, then I have to drive that particular change in my life. And I have to dream of what I want to be. I was also struggling a lot at that particular time about expectation of others, because I felt the expectation of others was driving where I was going and I didn't want it. So at university, I started like breaking myself from that particular bond, that I don't have to live to others' expectations. It's much later in life, probably in my 30s, where I realized, I have to really shape my own life, I have to dream.
Yeah.
But the dreaming and the self-leadership journey is something I've just been discovering. And that is right now my kind of occupation and research. How do you build that self-leadership? What is it that you can do with a young person that they dream about their own future and drive towards that future?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. And a lot of reflection in this episode. We want to see who Mary is. Okay. So I want to know, in your life, it can be career, personal life, are there instances where things didn't go as planned, as you had planned? And what is that powerful lesson that you learned from these instances?
I think there's a lot that has not gone as planned. Remember, I really wanted to do piloting. My father didn't want it because if as a woman at that particular time, then there are things you couldn't do as a woman. You can't get married and you can't get children. So my father refused to sign the form. That time you could only apply through the Air Force. In Kenya to do piloting. Right now you can get a license anytime. At that time it was only through Air Force. And again, I had qualified to go to university, so I qualified to go to the Air Force. But my dad said, I can't sign the form. And without the consent of the parents, you can't do that.
You can do it,
So, but I decided, okay, fine, that's okay. Then I didn't make it for mechanical engineering. I wanted to design cars. So my grade was below that. So I went for education. In education, I could select what subjects I want. So I chose physics and I did mathematics at the university. The physics gave me the mechanical bit. So I loved with cars. So I even did a bit of mechanics in a garage to just understand the car. But again, I lost interest at some point in that. And when I went into teaching, I decided, as I told you earlier, I just decided I'm going to excel in whatever space I am in. Whatever I am thrown. That's how the system was. You're put in a system, you excel in it. So I started teaching and I taught for 5 years, but I didn't like teaching. But when I was there, I decided to really to excel in that. In the school, I was posted to a very good school where it's self-driven. Kids are self-driven. But then when I reported there, I was told I've been transferred even before I reported. So I was taken to a local school and the teacher who was there was taken to the school where I was. And in that particular, I felt like I should quit at that particular moment. But I didn't quit. First time I was like, we can't communicate because they speak in their mother tongue. And I speak in English and they can't understand me. So I was like, why should I stay there? But I decided these kids may need me. So I got one kid that understood me. And I decided I'm going to teach that boy and that boy is going to teach others. So by the end of the year, they started understanding me and we could understand each other. But I always taught a small group that taught the others. So I still excelled. I still didn't like being there. That's when I left and decided to go to the university. So I can say that there are many incidences in my life where I have felt I have not excelled. I've set out my goals, but I've not been able to achieve them. But what I've done is looking at where have I failed and what can I do better. I never look at myself like I've really failed. It just didn't work. That's normally I say. And then I evaluate myself. So when I was working at the university, another incident happened and I had to quit from that particular university and go to another space. And when that incident happened in my life, I felt like it was like a way of showing me I have been in this particular space for long enough. So why did I not succeed in this particular area? And what do I need to do differently? So I had to do a self-reflection and get to see I needed sometimes you're very comfortable, right?
True.
You're very comfortable. And when you're comfortable and your time has come for you to rise to the next level, then you don't succeed in achieving your goals and then you have to restart again. So for me, in my mind, it has always been like, if this doesn't work, let me evaluate why it hasn't worked. And then I see how can I do it differently and what can I do differently. So I've had like 3 incidences, major incidences in my life like that I have not achieved a goal or I have not really like done what I should have done. I started an initiative and it totally failed. Some have involved money, like even lose the investment, right? And then you go like, you are so annoyed. Like this one that happened and I felt I was totally conned, right? And it was very bad because it took me back quite a back because I had like saved to start off that particular initiative, then it really didn't work. So should I blame the person or should I blame myself?
Yeah.
And then I go back and I go like, the only person I can change at that particular moment is myself. So I look at what should I have looked at, what I should have done a better evaluation of the whole thing before putting my heart into it. Yeah. So normally I have failed. But the mindset I have of failure is not that I have failed. What did I do wrong? How can I correct it? And it was at the right direction anyway. Maybe it wasn't the right direction and it failed at the right time because maybe I would have gone into it and it would have been worse. So I have tried to restructure myself. Sometimes I really go into a moment of, you can say, it's not really like depression, but a moment of seclusion and really look at how things are how things went and try to see how I can do that differently.
That's amazing. There's an element of trainer for training the trainers. And we went through that at IFAC during the peer mentorship. And I want to know, are you the originator of that when it comes to IFAC, that is? Were you the one who originated the trainer for trainer method where you empower mentors that go and mentor future mentors? You are?
Yes, I am.
Because that is such a powerful element. And how you phrased it, it feels like it's something that was coming. It's something that you went through. You experienced it when you were in that school where the students were speaking their mother tongue. And then you had to teach the ones that could understand your language. And then they went to teach the ones who couldn't understand your language. And that's very powerful because it feels like then language in itself can be a barrier, but not necessarily a barrier that restricts you to, impact.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So I want to understand, in your life, you work in education, leadership, and growth. Are there limiting beliefs, self-beliefs that you had to restructure or relook or just change your mindset on them for you to be able to deliver in your career?
There are many times when you feel like, are you good enough? Like when you go to higher places, that imposter syndrome always comes in, like, am I good enough? When you look into the room, like there's a group I was mentoring. They were all from the corporates. They were all managers and etc. And I'm supposed to talk about how they can get into public service. And then I'm like, are you sure I'm qualified for that? But they go like, it's about leadership. So my leadership approach is that if I want to change the world, I don't have to go and do it in a big way. I just have to start with one person. And then that one person can do two people because they're better than me. You look at the talent that particular person has, and then you mentor that person to change the rest of the world. Actually, that's how the TOT came in. It's called a multiplier system or even discipleship. Jesus used that particular model to change the world. He had 12 disciples. The 12 disciples have impacted millions of people, right? So that is the approach. You're not, like now in that particular school, I could not speak. We could not understand each other. But there's one person that understood me. So I just make that one person understand me, and that is the link to the others, so that the others can learn because they have to be changed. You can't enter into a space and not change the space, right? So that's how like now my model, that's actually my model in life. I never go like, even the peer mentorship program that we have. So you just need a few people. If I have 5 people, then each impacts other 5 people, it's going to be a compounded, impact. So that's normally how I look generally at that.
It's interesting to hear from you that you also experience imposter syndrome, because it's something that as young people, especially for me, I think I experience it a lot. And I've also talked to a lot of people my age, and I experience it even worse because, as you're saying, our education system is quite limiting in some ways. And you get into spaces where you have to address people who already have bigger qualifications than you, that have experienced better, have gone even further than you have gone, and you are at a space where you have to give them value. And you feel like they already have so much value than you have. And that imposter syndrome kind of makes you go back into yourself, and you're like, no, maybe I'm not good enough for this. But then just hearing that someone like you, Mary, I don't know if you understand, there's a level, for me, I don't know about the other people, there's a level of growth that I aspire to have. And I see it in you and a lot of women who have excelled in their areas of career and even life. And understanding that we experience the same thing makes it feel like, well, maybe I can't get to that level.
Yeah.
It's not that far from reach. And it's amazing to hear it from you. And you've said that you've failed a lot in your life. And I want to know, how has your journey with failure been like? Were there times in your life where you felt like failure is like life changing or like detrimental to you? And how has that experience or relationship with failure changed over time? Do you feel like failure still is a big thing for you right now, or is it an opportunity for better or for more?
The way I perceive failure, but maybe I can take you back about like the imposter syndrome. One of the things I have developed, and it's part of what I do, is, and I think probably you know it, I tell you to design your future, right?
Yeah.
And when you design where you want to go, then you start doing things right now towards that particular future. And what I have learned, as long as you have a dream, believe in yourself. Okay, my model is also like believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, it doesn't really matter what space and which people you are going to influence, because those people come in as an added asset for you. You'll have people more qualified, but qualified for what? You are a good communicator, you lead conversations. You'll have professors here that have had experience. But for you, what you have in your hands is you can lead a conversation. It doesn't matter what. And believe in that. Don't be terrified by who comes into your room. Do the thing that you're very good at and you'll be able to excel. Now, failure, for me, I've never perceived failure like it is something that stops me. It's like a stop for me to reflect. That's how I have perceived it. I guess it's my experience in life goes like, oh, that's failure, but it's like a stop, like the stop sign. Now stop. Think about what you're doing. Are you doing the right thing? Is it the right thing? And what have you learned from that failure? What were the positives? What were the negatives? What do you need to stop doing? And what do you need to start doing? And what do you need to continue doing? So you can reflect on the three things. What you need to stop doing because of why you failed, what you need to start doing and continue doing. What you need to unlearn. And relearn. So that's what normally I perceive failure for me to be like.
So I understand that, and I feel like that's very life-changing advice, because I think for a lot of people it feels like life is like experiencing failure is like a full stop. Now you can't go continue. And what you're telling us is like maybe think about failure as a comma, a pause, and then to going further. And you work with young people. You've worked with young people for a very long time. What do you think the perception of young people is about failure, and how can they think of it differently? What is that one advice you can give someone, a young person who's out there feeling like they failed in so much now they don't want to do anything more? I've had young people say, my friends say that because they failed so much, they don't feel like trying anymore. So what is the one advice you can give that person?
I've come across that a lot, where they feel like they're not worthy. They start doubting themselves, and even the people they go to share with, they make them doubt themselves. But for me, what I'll tell a young person, when you fail, allow the pain. Go through the pain, go through that, then sit back and have a moment of reflection. So, because one thing you'll do is react to the failure. Reaction is bitter. You feel like you have failed, but don't allow the reaction to stay for too long. Go to the responding bit of the failure. The responding bit is where you look at, what is it that I had set out to do? Why didn't it succeed? What is it about me that made me not successful, right? So first you're looking at yourself. So maybe we can do the SWOT there, right? So what is it about me that made me not succeed? What is it about the threats outside there that made me not succeed? How can I deal with that? So look at them, and that's when you decide, what is it that I was doing that I should not do? But what is it also like, in the failure, there's also a success, right? Was there an element of success? That element of success, what made me succeed? Because then I have to build more on it. Yeah? But it's not looking at yourself like doubting your abilities. Yeah. So also evaluate your abilities. Maybe you put your abilities in the wrong place. That's not where they were supposed to be. Yeah. Maybe it was the wrong advice. Maybe you're listening to the wrong voices, right? So just sit back, but it's not about you. Also look at where have you succeeded in life up to where you are before the failure? What took you up to there? Because whatever took you up to there is your strength, and it will take you beyond the failure. The failure is a very small element of your life. It is not your entire life. But the problem is it comes in when you think it's your entire life. Just because you failed in one thing doesn't mean you can do other things. Yeah. You have succeeded in others. What is it that made you succeed in others? Also look at that. So, because what I see in most young people is that when they have failed, they feel like their world has totally collapsed. But it hasn't. It's just that particular moment. And you can be down for that particular moment, but don't stay down for too long. It's also wise to really get the help and be open to listen to people. You know, like you'll have people telling you things and tell you, actually, Josephine, you're not, you can't do all that you're saying, right? Don't listen to them. I mean, those ones, walk away from them, yeah? So, but get to somebody who just listens to you and hears you and what you're saying, so that they are objective in advising you on how to get out of it or how to get away from that. They don't repeat the same thing you did to fail. Because, you know, like, I can give a very simple example. You're in Form 2 and your grade is 60%, right? But you're not looking at the grade, right? You're looking at, maybe you even got 70%, but you wanted to be number 1. But then you're number 15 and you feel like you have failed because you're number 15. But that's ranking. What did you want to achieve as your grade? You wanted to achieve 70%. And you got 65%. So the difference is 5%. You just ask yourself, why didn't I get the 70%? Was it like, what is it that I didn't do? It's not that I'm a failure. I have a 65% and I'm number 15. And most of the students will normally feel like, because I'm number 15, I'm not good enough. I'm not the top 10. And then they give up. They're competing with others. Don't compete with others. Just compete with yourself. Set your goals. And when you don't achieve your goal, evaluate, why did I achieve my goal? Was it the environment outside? It was unfavorable. Or did I put my effort in the wrong place? So just evaluate, why did I fail? What can I do better? What do I need, like I said, what do I need to stop doing? What do I need to start doing? What new do I need to learn? And you will get out of it.
You work in the education sector. You talked a bit about working with faculty and also students. And I would want to know, do you feel that the education system in our country fails the young people and the students? And what can be done better?
Okay. Should I say the education system has failed young people? I feel that the education system is a caging system, right? It puts you in a box to think in a certain way. What I am glad about is that with the new generation and the new things, you're free to get out of the box and really think wildly. You still have to sit exams. So think wildly, but know that you'll be caged through the exam, because the exam determines how you progress through life. The only thing that I feel the education system has failed us is in the preparation of the teacher, how to facilitate the learning. I feel very sad, particularly in high school, that they don't have time to think. Academic excellence means the grade. There is nothing like being innovative or being creative. But the CBC promises something totally different if it is properly implemented. The reason I work with faculty generally is because we need to introduce a certain way of teaching that the student is exposed and explores their potential and actually does the best that they can. And for that, I think everyone is open to that. It's just that we don't have an educating system that prepares the people teaching for that particular kind of space. It will take us a while, but it's the way we were oriented. And that way, originally the system was to get you into employment. It's not to create innovators, but you're getting to the space, there are no jobs. So innovation has to be the heart of the learning. So there's a mismatch as far as that is concerned. And that's what I also work closely with when I'm doing with faculty. How do we remove ourselves from the teaching to facilitating learning? Because right now, the new learners are able to access information. It's just getting to know how do you interact with that information to change yourself and to change the world. So that's what we are working at to really break the barrier. But I think everyone is excited about that. The how and to do it is now our challenge, but we learn through communities of practice and all that.
So if given a chance to change the entire education system, what would you do?
I would start with the teacher training. Teacher training, because the teacher is in the heart of it. How do we change the teacher from the way they teach to just be facilitators of learning? For me, I would invest a lot on the early childhood. Because one of the things that you can do to a person, just make them learn how to read and write. And then how to interact with the information. When that is done, if a child can read and write and it is provided with the information, the role of the teacher is now to help that particular child just set their goal and guide them towards getting that goal. So for me, I would really invest a lot on early childhood, particularly the teacher training at early childhood. And then after that, really like the other teachers is like, how do you facilitate the learning process so that the child is able to set their personal goals and be able to achieve the rest? But also how to create a learning environment. For me, the learning environment is very, very critical. And the pedagogy of it, how the learning, how you actually use that learning environment to empower this particular child to take charge of their lives. It has worked in many places. And the whole idea of the CBC is really to develop those competencies in a child, that the child is not only able to do mathematics, but there's a reason they understand why they're doing math. You see, right now, you do maths like a punishment, right? But what if math made sense to you? Like I knew, like the counting, how does it make sense to what age? 7-year-old, so that they're not hating it. They're being made to do multiplication. They don't understand. How can that make sense to that particular child? And when they're trying to make sense of that math, then you're building their comprehension and other competencies. Like they can speak out and explain, why am I counting? I'm counting maybe goats. I'm counting the seats in our house. So if we are 10 in our house and we only have 3 seats, then that means how many are we missing? So they're doing the minus and the plussing. All that. Then math makes sense. If you're able to train the teacher to create that particular learning environment where children are able to make sense of what they are learning from early age, that I would really like invest in. And I believe that's what we need to invest in the teacher education.
I get what you mean, because we're in a season where the young people are now getting involved in life, basically leadership in all spaces actually. And the young people are saying that we want a seat at the table. And we've seen that world over. And I would want to know what you think about it. What do you feel about this uprising that's happening all over the world? We've seen it in Bangladesh. We've seen it in Nepal. We've seen it in Togo. We're seeing it in Kenya, where we feel like the young people are now taking advantage of their rights. And now they want a seat at the table, especially in seats of leadership. And they want to be involved. What is your immediate reaction to seeing all of this?
For me, I believe that there is no tomorrow's leader. The leader is now. At whatever age you are in, you are a leader, and you can make the change that you need to happen, right? So I feel it's time that everybody is involved in participating in the development of their country, in the leading of their country. We have a say in all that. So we need youth representation in every particular space. We have seen a lot of changes also happening. Like when I was in school, we never used to vote for a prefect, right? The prefect was appointed by the teacher. Right now, we are seeing that happening, which means leadership is starting very early. And that particular child, whatever age they are a leader and an influencer amongst the children that they have. So, amongst the age bracket they are in. So that means we have leadership at every level. It just goes to the next level. The uprising across the world is because we are designing for people deciding what they need to do. But you see, with the information era, people have information. They are informed. They know what can change in their country. Yet, the older people who are not as informed as they're making decisions on their behalf. It's affecting them. And I think one of the things that's driving that is the unemployability. So we have made a decision about an education system. The research is showing that it's not that jobs are not available. It's just that we are not prepared for the jobs. Why? Because we are teaching them this, yet the job market is offering a different thing. And the youth are excelling, even in doing jobs on their own. And then their budgets are being made by the country to get money out of them, that they are working hard. No one is even knowing what it is that they are doing, right? So we want to be at that particular table where decisions are made. We want our voices to be heard. I think it's time for that. And I believe it's time for that. Things have to change because you're in a different era. There's a very big difference between a Gen X and a Gen Z in the way we look at the world, right? So if you're planning for a Gen Z or an Alpha generation, then we need to know what it is that is going on in their mind. So they need a seat at that particular table.
Okay. I would also want to know, do you think that, especially in Kenya, let's talk about our Kenyan society and how that has the protests, the youth raising their voices towards leadership, speaking truth to power. Do you think it's somewhat related to how we've, the education system we've gone through our society and even how we've been raised up? Do you think there's something that was done differently for this generation than the previous generation? Or do you think it's just an addition of what the other generations have been doing?
My generation was a conformist generation, we can say. So the systems are in place. The generation before myself, they were being prepared to be administrators. And that's what they did according to the expectations of our country. This generation is an information generation. They know things we don't know. They are solving problems that we have never been able to solve. So there's a conflict between what we expect and what they are expecting. A conflict in value system, what we believed in and what they are believing in. So it's like we don't even communicate. We don't even understand each other. And that's why we have a major conflict between the two generations. Okay, actually, there are three generations. The people who are in leadership are not the millennial, right?
The Gen X's,
The Gen X's, right? And the difference between Gen X and Gen Z is a very big whatever. The information, like now a Gen Z can sit at home and earn 4 times what I earn, right? By just being at home. And then what am I telling them? To go to a school system, right? That does not prepare them for that kind of work. So there's generally a conflict between what we expect and what they expect. And I think that conflict is what is bringing up the uprising.
So we'll turn it back down to now work level. Like you're already now in a space where you're employing more Gen Zs. The Gen Zs are getting onboarded to the work market and employability, all of that. Are there any differences you're seeing in the work culture between the Gen Zs and, millennials and Gen Xs? Because I'd imagine at IFAC in itself, we have a lot of millennials and Gen Xs are in the top level of, leadership. And then now you're onboarding Gen Zs. How is that dynamic for you? Do you feel like it's new?
I think, like now, if you talk about EFAC, we are not. We cannot say. I cannot be able to state exactly what is happening in the job market. But since my job is really to link the people to the job market, what is it that I hear, or what is it that the people are saying out there? You see, like we have routines, and organizations have their own systems. And the Gen Zs are not fitting into the system because they want flexibility. I think what we are going to see is a changing space. Even organizations, we are changing how we used to work. previously you didn't work at home, right? All organizations require that you're present. Right now they are mixing, it's blended kind of work environment. Yeah. It's a hybrid kind of work environment. Yeah. And that suits agencies. They can work in their own space and the way they want. Yeah. So the main thing with the Gen Z, what I have seen is that they want that particular freedom and flexibility. That's going to really affect organizations in future. Right now, we are still stuck to the way we used to do things, and our systems are in place, and they have to be to remain like that. Organizations have to have system, because I believe that if an organization has to be to continue existing, then it has to be 80% system and 20% dependent on the people there, right? Because people come and people go, and for that continuity, you need the systems in place. The Gen Zs have to respect that particular system. So, but they want maybe contract kind of work. They want to be consultants. They want to have that particular freedom. And so you're seeing most organizations are getting lean on permanent and pensionable and getting to contract and consultants. So they're outsourcing. So we are going into outsourcing. So you can see outsourcing is the biggest element of an organization. And that's where the now Gen Zs are fitting in that particular outsourcing space. So I don't have to have systems in place. The only system I need to have in finance is to connect me to my outsourced service. So I don't need to employ the accountants and all that. So if they can get into that space when they start their own consultancy and then they get outsourced work, because that's where we are going. So for me, my experience right now is that kind of outsourcing is going to be the space. So you find organizations, they can get cheaper services in Africa than in the US. So they will outsource to Africa. So we have to invest more on how we equip our students to be consultants, to be able to manage themselves. So it's just that self-leadership thing, the self-leadership, self-management, and setting your own personal systems that fit within the system of other organizations. So like EFAC, we have our systems, we have financial systems, we have operation systems, but we only concentrate on our core business and then outsource the others. So that's the space we are getting into.
I love that. We're also seeing a lot of young people getting into leadership. And I think for any generation to grow, you have to have wisdom and leadership coming from the older generation. And I would want to know from you, what is one thing you see that the young people, the young leaders are doing wrong, and what they can do differently to just, excel in their leadership roles, I mean.
Okay, one thing I notice is thinking, we are too old, right? To learn from. So we have to build more of a space where there is intergenerational dialogue and being able to understand each other. Like I said, nothing really changes under the sun. I think that's Solomon, Nothing is new under the sun. So we can think information era, we are so informed. But, emotionally, we go through the same processes, So it's good to just listen. Like I said, mentoring for me means thinking of myself 16 years younger and seeing the mistakes that people are doing. How can you make sure that you don't make the same mistakes, You're not like shutting out people who can really give you advice. Just listen to them, hear what they're saying, and then be able to weigh what you take to the next level, because leadership is about influence, and getting that influence, that means people have to listen to you. So if you're not listening, how can someone else listen to you? So you have to develop the competencies of a leader, and that's where the intergenerational conversations need to come in. Just identify somebody that you think you admire and listen to their journey. What mistakes have they made? So that you can develop your own leadership acumen.
So we are about to wrap up the episode, but the thing I wanted us to build on is just how you experienced life. I wanted you to reflect a lot about your life and also relate it to what you do. And we are on the season My Mind on Failure, meaning like we at My Mind Speaks podcast, we were trying to evaluate differently how people experience failure and how their perspective of failure has changed over time. Because personally, I do feel like failure is a very big thing for young people. For the people I talk to, even personally, I feel like failure for us right now is a very big deal. And as I said, I've been in spaces where people my age say, because I've tried in so many ways, I've tried everything I can, but I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to try anymore. And I just wanted to also personally change my perspective on failure through other people's stories. And this is the point where I want to understand for you how that journey with failure has been. You have spoken about it, but I would want to know, as a young person, how did you feel failure was, and how has it gone? Like, has it evolved for you over time? And in certain spaces, you can give examples of where you failed and you felt like, oh my God, this is such a big deal. But then that failure led you to a different path that has now led you to what you're doing right now, which I would believe that is your purpose.
Yeah. When I was younger, failing felt like it's the end of the world, right? And I tell you, it makes you doubt yourself. It makes you feel like you're not worthy. And like, am I the person that I have believed I am, or people have believed I am? How am I going to face people? I can give an example. I didn't get married like everyone else. And for me, I didn't see it. Probably I thought it was a failure that when people are getting married, I didn't get married. Yeah. And then I got a child.
Yeah.
And it felt like that is a failure. And because of getting the child, I had to leave my job because the organization didn't allow you to not be married and be an organization. But the whole thing is you're thinking about what the world is thinking about you. You're thinking, am I going to go into that particular space again? How are people going to perceive me? And I had to sit back and go like, are people going to dictate what my life is going to be like? No. This was a stop so that I can reflect on my life and decide how I'm going to move on. So I moved on with life, and I discovered things about me that I didn't know, strengths that I had in me that I didn't know, but I started programs that actually have been very successful. I developed models that have been successful, that if I had remained where I was at that particular time, probably I wouldn't have done those particular things. That's why I say, like, failure for me is like that stop sign on the road. Stop, look right, look left, and then decide whether you can go straight or whatever. It allows you to decide the direction you want to take with your life. It also allowed me to really see the strengths in me. Because where I went next, there was that belief in me. And I remember after I left my workplace, where I went, I had done systems, quality systems for universities. And I was able to lead a whole university in getting ISO certification at that time. And I was like, then I'm leading people who have had experience. And, and all I need is to actually moderate and facilitate without really being the expert in any of their field. They're the experts. Just bring the experts into the space and let them do their thing. All they need is somebody who coordinates and does all that. I discovered something in me that I didn't know even ever existed. I got an opportunity to really explore my leadership potential. So failure is always, for me, failure has always been now a stop sign for me to reflect what direction. I took the wrong direction, right? So stop and think, did you do the right thing or the wrong thing? What are you doing with your life? And if this is what has been presented to you, then what is it that will take you to the next level? Remember, you have your dream and you still have to get to that particular dream. So this failure just says, probably you took the wrong road. You need to take a different road. So my advice to young people would be like, when failure comes into your life, it's not the end of the road. It's a stop sign. You have to stop. You have to evaluate the situation and you have to look into yourself. What are your key strengths? And how can they take you to the next level? Like I said, you have succeeded up to that particular point, right? And success doesn't have to be a big thing. You're alive. And you have abilities. What is it that you have built? How does it take you to the next level? And what is your next level? The problem is that when you don't know what your next, you thought that whatever you wanted to do was your next level. No. Remember, you have the rest of your life. What is the change you want to bring to the world? If you focus on the change, then failure is a stop sign for you to ask yourself, am I still on my path to that particular dream? Or is that really what I wanted to achieve in my life? But you have to have that vision for your life. Have the vision of your life. What is it that you want to do? So that failure doesn't become like the end of the road. You see, sometimes failure is you wanted to make $1 million, right? Then you lose $1 million. Was your end game the $1 million? Or was that was there something else to get the $1 million to change the world?
Yeah.
Then you're being told the $1 million, you don't need the $1 million to bring about the change. All you have to bring is people with $1 million to get the change, right?
Yeah.
So because your focus was to get the $1 million to make the change, then now you realize I don't need the $1 million. I just need Josephine, I need Mary for me to get to make sure the change happens with the $1 million, right? So it's always a stop sign. And I would encourage young people, don't look at failure like the end of the road. Look at it as a stop sign for you to evaluate your journey.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for honoring this invite. And thank you for making a come at My Mind Speaks podcast. Yeah. This is an open space. Anytime you want to come back, if you want to share anything, always welcome.
Thank you.
And I would also want to tell you thank you very much for choosing not to, give up, because by your efforts, people like Josephine can dream. I gave this story the previous episode. Last episode, we had Simon Peter here. He was giving his story towards being an advocate. And I just wanted to say that before IFAC, life for me felt like, very narrow. Yeah. I didn't have agencies, or I wasn't empowered enough to dream big. But even after IFAC and through it, I feel like the world is just my oyster, and I can just find, I can excel in whatever space I've been.
Yeah.
I will remind you, in 2017, the theme for the workshop was to dare to change, and dare to live, be transformed to lead. It has always been so relevant to my life because over the years, I've changed in very many ways.
Yeah.
And I've changed in positive ways mostly. And the exposure that IFAC in itself has given me has opened my mind up to very many opportunities. I mean, My Mind Speaks podcast would not have been a thing if not for the type of empowerment I got from IFAC. The fact that now I have like a very solid mind, I think I am more secure in how I think.
Yeah.
I believe in my thoughts and my abilities more. And it is greatly influenced by what I got out of IFAC. Yeah. All the workshops, all the talks you gave us. I was going through the IFAC's page sometime last week, and I was seeing so many videos of myself over the years.
Yeah.
It is amazing to see it, the growth and the difference that IFAC has instilled in me. It's amazing. And I think even for people who aren't able to go through IFAC, the fact that we've had this sit down, it's just a step towards being impactful in the world. And all of that could not have been possible if you did not choose to, continue with your journey and believe in yourself. So thank you very much for choosing yourself, because by choosing yourself, you gave us a chance to choose ourselves even better.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I'm glad to see the self-leader that you have become. You're changing the world.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're coming to the end of the episode. Please follow our page, My Mind Speaks podcast, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also follow our social media, our YouTube and Spotify. We are available in those spaces. And please tell them where they can find you, where they can follow your journey.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm on LinkedIn mainly, and I think a bit of Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I'm also our offices, if anyone needs to contact us, we are on Langata Road, Millennium Business Park. That's where we are located. We mentor young people, and we have the space to really respond to anyone who wants to be a self-leader or to change, to really build their self-leadership acumen.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
And that's the end of the episode.
Thank you.